The level of excitement that I have for this video, you guys. I'm so excited. Hello friends, welcome to today's video. If you couldn't tell, I'm excited about today's video, even more so than maybe some of my other videos. This has been a video that's been like years in the making, I feel like, for me, and I'm just so excited. It has brought me so much joy the last few days, and I feel like it's a culmination of just years of things I've been wanting to do in my kitchen. If you are new, I should probably tell you my name. My name is Tanya. Welcome, and on my channel today I am sharing something that I hope, well, one thing I'm obviously excited about, but that maybe you find inspirational, that maybe you find a little bit helpful, or maybe you just enjoy it and it makes you happy like it makes me happy. So today I'm sharing with you how I made a pantry in my kitchen that doesn't have a pantry. So if you don't know, my house is a little bit older and it just never had like a pantry. Like I have some kitchen cabinets, but our kitchen has always been, like, I'm grateful for the kitchen I have, but it's wonky. The stuff is kind of weird, and like the shelving and stuff is not exactly how my brain understands things and like remembers where things were. So we have like some pantry items in one random closet and some over here. So needless to say, I've been wanting a pantry, and me and my husband have been trying to think of like what to do. We're also on a journey to pay off debt, so that's been a process. And so you know, we're trying to find ways. We contacted, like, we looked at everything from like custom kitchen, you know, pantries, to like we looked at stuff at Shelving at Home Depot and wherever. And so we finally decided on something, and it wasn't too terribly expensive considering other options, and I wanted to share that with you guys today. And then yeah, so I want to show you what it is. So the way that I made this pantry, and I hope this gives you some inspiration if you're, for example, renting, and maybe either if you don't have a pantry or you don't have a lot of space for a pantry, because I know some people have like entire rooms that are their pantries. Like I don't have that, and maybe you don't either, and so maybe it gives you some ideas of something you can do to, I feel like, get that very, I don't know, like maybe custom but really nice pantry look, for not as crazy an amount and not as crazy of a space as maybe like an entire pantry room per se. So yeah, but the way that I achieved this, I will say, is that we purchased 2 Ikea shelves. This is what made this whole amazing thing possible. And I'll hold it up right here so you can see what it's called, because material pronunciation. So is it B-hulls, bi-hulls? I don't know. I believe it's about $200 or under. I'll list the price on the screen, but this is what you will see. I just wanted to do it at the beginning in case people have questions. You know, this is what it is. So if you want to consider it, here you go. I will say that it was pretty easy to put together. I put both of these together pretty much by myself, so it did not take very long at all. And again, I do feel like they're pretty sturdy and they serve the purpose for a pantry. So let me show you and kind of show you some of the highlights of my pantry, and you know, maybe inspire you with some thrifty tips as well. That doesn't have to be $1,001,001 to create a nice pantry space in your home. So let's go. I feel like I gotta hide you guys and make the reveal. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Ta-da! Ah! Right? Okay, I'll give you like a backup shot, and then we're gonna dive in and go over all the fun details. But for reference, this was just an empty wall in my kitchen that I had, kind of like an old china cabinet that I was trying to use for storage, but I guess it wasn't working the best. So this was all vertical space. it's empty wall. So I literally just have an empty wall here. And so this is what we used. And if you can see, it's a perfect combination, I feel like, of as much like a good amount of vertical space as well as the horizontal, and it doesn't jut out too much. So let's kind of look at some of the highlights, and I'll show you guys. For one, I know this is not even all related to the pantry, but I love the fact that I can put fun display things, but also plants up here. I love plants, and any more places that I can put more plants, yes please. So I love that right away. I also love that everything is visible to me, because for me, I need to kind of see things, otherwise I forget that I have them, and then things go to waste, or I purchase too many things. The next thing also, if you notice, is that you'll see the different sizing and the different combinations. This is one of the biggest things that made us to finally decide on this shelving that we love. So you can see there's like kind of a square basic shape, but then there's also longer ones, and there's ones that are taller, and there's some that are very big, right? So that and then there's also some smaller ones again. So like it's very all different kinds of sizing that I just think it really made a big difference for this. The other thing that I will point out is if you're in the same dilemma as us, we don't have like the fancy microwave above the stove or whatever. So we still had to figure out what to do with our microwave. So it's super nice because it actually comes with little cutouts, if you can see back there, in the back. So we're able to perfectly fit our microwave in here with even some space for more storage that you can see is still empty actually. So I have space and then I'm able to just plug it in down there. So there's holes here, right here, and then obviously if you needed more, if you're doing two, there's more in there. So that right away is a big, that's something you have to consider is, again, if you don't have a space for a microwave and you have to put it somewhere, this is a big bonus for that alone. Then the other thing, which I just loved about this, is my appliances, because I don't have too many. These are like the three main ones that I do have, but I really wanted a place to store them. And a lot of regular shelves or certain pantry cabinets per se, like didn't really have the right, they weren't tall enough or they weren't deep enough. This, you guys, the level of satisfaction, anyone else that this brings me, that they fit like so nicely in there, it's just, I love it. It just, this alone right here just brings me so much joy. It has cleared up so much counter space. It's just so nice, and I still see what I have, it's there, but everything has a home. Then the other tip I wanted to show you, and kind of, if you can see, to me, I think this looks super nice, and I don't know, maybe it's not the whole like Pinterest aesthetic, you know, situation pantry, but I think it looks beautiful and I love it, and I love that I did this completely free. So these are actually old like Nescafe coffee jars. I have collected these over the year from my mother-in-law because they drink the coffee, and so she saves the jars for me, if you can see. So thank you to my mother-in-law. And these are completely free to me, right? So utilize a resource. Maybe if you don't have someone, maybe you know someone else, or even just collecting, you know, random jars. Like it doesn't have to all match, you know, because I was like, I am not going to spend hundreds of dollars on brand new jars. So these were completely free to me. I just then labeled them with my label maker. And I think they look wonderful, and I love that they're in glass because I don't like things to be in plastic just because I'm not a big fan of it, and like, so I just prefer this. And again, this was completely free to me, and it just makes me so happy. And all it took was a few months, you know, like of gathering these jars, but it is so worth it now. And you can see I did a similar thing. And again, is it all perfectly, you know, like no, but I feel like this is a real kitchen and it's done on a budget. Again, these were all other coffee jars that I've collected for my mother-in-law. This is an old tea jar that I kept, but this is like a wonderful jar. Anybody else get very excited about jars? I love jars. Like I could talk about jars for a long time. But these are all jars that I had. Like you can see it's a little bit mismatchy, but I kind of like that. It's more realistic, I feel like. So I also really loved this narrow drawer. I was like, this came together perfectly. I had some of these in my pantry and I was like, this is perfect. And it's right above, or like right below the microwave. So it's just the little things that were just so wonderful. One of the other highlights, this is just a fun gadget if I haven't, I think I talked about it maybe in a video, but if I haven't, and if this is something you're curious about, and if your family does a lot of bulk items like either rice or beans or other things, is this thing. I did purchase, this was one item I purchased like about half a year ago actually. I've had this for a while, but I finally was able to put it somewhere where it fit. And this was, I mean, it's a rice dispenser, but you could use it for like, for beans, for cereal, really, I think anything. And it comes with a little cup. And as you can see, my kids were already pushing it, but if you push it, so it's just super nice and it fits perfectly like in that section. I was like, it was made for this, like so good. Yeah, so if you guys can see, I'll give you a little quick tour if you want to see what's in here. This right now is just kind of random. I'm still organizing things, and so that's just kind of random storage right now. Here is my sourdough things for proofing and some silicone mats. Down here, this is kind of my beans, my bulk beans and you know, some like rice and things. Again, these are all jars that I've had. I did not purchase any of these, either from my mom or like random, you know, like my mother-in-law, or just things that we've had for years and years. So those were totally free. Here is my tea and coffee little square. I love it because, again, I can store some of my, I have my little French press here, but I have my coffee and some teas in here. Now, this is one that I did spend money on, and I'll try to list the name of these. I don't remember, but a pack of 3, I believe, was $4 or something, and I can't maybe list. No, maybe it was like $3. So I got 3 packs for 12 total. Because I just wanted to redo my spices, because again, that's something I do a lot, and this was the little thing that it just kind of brought me joy. So I did spend, I think, what was it, like $12 or $15 on these jars, but again, they're perfect because they're nice and wide, and you can just, you know, scoop in there, because sometimes I don't like the regular, like, you know, jars of spices come in, because they're really like narrow to try to scoop in there, if you know what I mean. So this was something I did buy for this project. Again, I just labeled it, and I kept it, narrowed it down to like the 12 spices that I really use. I have some spice packets like ranch and some other spices that I have and things like that. And then some bay leaves and cinnamon sticks, again, in old jars that I'm just reusing. And I already had the spice rack. I've had it for maybe like, or like shelving or whatever. I've had this for maybe like 5 or 6 years. So I just reused it here. And then up here, these are, I've had these again for years. I'll try to list them down below, but they're from Amazon. And again, you can say have one down here. They're a nice use of space that, you know, if you have this kind of just open space, you can do something with it. So I put one here, and this goes along with all my pasta again, so I can see what I have when I'm out. It's all in one place. Like, this is just, yes, it makes me so happy. Then over here, way up high in the corner, is the sweet store, if you can tell. It's a little bit crazy right now, but this is where we hid all the candies and the cookies. If you can't tell, I have 3 younger kids, and clearly you can see why we put it up here, hiding it from them. Then down here, this is another thing that I didn't have really anywhere to put any of my cookbooks in my kitchen or anywhere, so I was kind of just storing them in random places or other places in my house. And now I have a designated little spot for my cookbooks, and maybe I'll do a video kind of talking about my favorite ones. But I was telling my husband, I was like, look, I actually have room to buy more. So if you guys have suggestions for favorite cookbooks, maybe drop them down below. I'd love to check out. I love cookbooks. Then down here, oh, my son placed Matryoshka Santa, but down here I also have my KitchenAid mixer. It's nice because I think it's decorative and I love seeing it, but it's also, again, has a home. Now it can be there and do its thing in between uses. Then here, I didn't really have anything else like giant, but I was thinking of ideas like you could also use more of these dispensers and make like a cereal bar almost. I didn't really feel like that was necessary for us, but this is an old thrifted like bread box, so I just have our bread in there for storing it. Again, it's kind of right in the middle, so my kids or my husband or anybody can reach it pretty easily. And then these narrow ones, as you can see, I showed you guys those like some faux kind of microwave meals when we're busy. Here are our eggies from our chickens. Because they are fresh from our chickens, we can, you know, store them out on the counter so they don't need to be refrigerated. Here are my narrow things. Again, like you don't realize you actually have like some narrow stuff in your kitchen, so this was so perfect for these. I just have my tea box, which I've had for years and years, again from Amazon. These are some of my backup essential oils, again in like a narrow thing that I got. This is also from Amazon, so I stored them there. This is totally empty. I still have available, so that's nice for extra storage. Then down here I have one of my tea sets that I'm displaying, but again, I think it's functional for storage, but it's also just pretty. The drawer or the spot here for all kind of the pantry items I already showed you guys. This is my big flour container. And then here are some of my other baked kind of items or those kinds of things. And then here are my appliances. And then down here is my canned items. And I'm debating whether it's not a necessity, but it is kind of nice to get one of those, you know, racks like for cans that'll kind of like rotate, not rotate, but you know what I mean, like you kind of stores them and then they'll roll out. I'll try to insert an image of what I'm trying to say to you guys. I'm debating whether I'll put that in here. It is honestly perfectly fine like this. I don't think it's a necessity. Maybe down the road, if maybe I have like a gift card or something, I might get it. And then down here is also some fruit and jams and things like that, like canned fruits. So there you guys have it. I don't know if maybe I was just overly excited, but you guys, it makes me so happy, and I feel like it's finally so much more functional, and I can see everything I have, and I can finally see everything I have and know that things, you know, don't go to waste and what I have to use. And so I'm just so excited for it, and I hope, you know, it gives you some ideas of what you can do if you don't have a pantry or if you've been wanting to redo it, and not so expensive. Again, I know that the shelves were mainly the investment, so about $400, but if you use like your own jars and stuff, that's pretty much everything I paid for other than the Ikea jars, which were about $12. So I think it's pretty good considering. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!